Let's say, your classic craving is when you're at work, right? And it's halfway through the day and but this thought bubble comes in your head of like, oh my God, I can't wait to go home and just smoke my face off. Or maybe it's not even that crackheady, right? Maybe it's like, oh my God, I want to smoke a bowl so bad when I get home. It's gonna feel so good. Yo, what is going on, everybody? Gabriel Santos here. And today we're going to talk about the classic topic of dealing with marijuana cravings. All right, so there's many layers that we can talk about when it comes to this topic. But the overall goal of today's video is to help you guys and empower you guys to deal with cravings successfully, effectively, and consistently, and ultimately to gain the muscle of not just discipline, but of awareness, as well as finding alternative options to deal with cravings, as well as what the deeper cravings really are and what they mean. Okay, and let's start with that. All right, so let's start with the basics actually. And let me give you an example just for myself last night, right? Okay, so last night, and for those of you who don't know, I am going 2026 completely weed free. And mind you, I've gone a full year without weed back in 2019, so I have experience under my belt. And so I have a sense of mastery in terms of dealing with cravings and things like that. And so back to the story. So last night, it's been 2 weeks or so since I haven't smoked or used marijuana. And I was out with my family and we were just hanging out and we are having a good time and we are having dinner and laughing and yada yada yada. I didn't have any cravings for marijuana. In general, I feel really good in my body, in my mind, in my spirit. And we ended up having a couple drinks, right? And it was 11 p.m. and I've had one drink, so I'm buzzing, but I'm feeling good. And out of nowhere, right, without me trying, a craving came to my mind, a very old classic craving of mine. And what it looked like and felt like was this thought bubble of like, oh dude, getting high later would be so dope, right? And it's very subtle, it's very quick, but it's very real, right? Oh my gosh, dude, weed, right? That's the thought coming in my mind. And even more so, it's this jolt of excitement in my body, right, in my nervous system, that I've trained, right? Literally, in the 15 or so years that I've been using marijuana, I have had that craving, let's just call it 10,000 times, right? And about 9,000 times I have said yes to that craving. So I have trained myself that when that craving comes along, oh, dude, weed, let's do it. Hey guys, quick interruption here. If you are someone who is looking for support to help you deal with cravings, to help you develop the skills to deal with cravings, and really someone to help you figure out how to have less cravings, how to have more discipline, and ultimately how to have control over yourself and get your life back when it comes to you, marijuana, discipline, and just moving forward in life, reach out to me. I offer life coaching services and coaching sessions. We dive deep. They are tailored to you specifically. We go deep into your inner world. We go deep into what your habit loops are, and we break them down, hold you accountable, and ultimately see you grow. And if that interests you, reach out to me. The links will be down below via Instagram or email. Hope to see you there. Back to the video. Now, back to last night. That thought bubble comes in my head, and first of all, hold on, let me finish the story. So that thought bubble comes in my head, and the craving is very real, similar to a craving you might get for food, right? Where it's like, oh, dude, yeah, dude, right? The lusting, the excitement for whatever the craving is. And all I did in that moment was recognize that craving, which essentially creates space between me and the craving and the emotion and the thoughts and the automatic actions and I'm seeing it. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, there it is, right? Almost like it's my job to be on top of this, right? It's like, okay, there it is. And immediately, right then and there, nipping that in the bud, right? And how I do that is not like, no, dude, Gabe, you said you'd be disciplined, blah blah blah. It was really, and again, this is a skill that I've developed over the years, right? Over time, over repetition. Was like, oh, okay, there's that, and basically like shaking it off and just not entertaining it, not judging the fact that it comes up, and also not resisting the fact that this craving has come up. And what I mean by that is essentially I am putting myself in a internal position mentally, emotionally, spiritually to not be attached to that craving as it comes up. I instead, right, I'm seeing it and it's like, okay. And because I have already made a decision beforehand, right? I made a decision at the front of the year that like it's weed is not an option, and I'm very present to why it's not an option, and that's another piece, and we'll get to that in a second, right? Being aware of why not using marijuana for yourself and whatever your case is, why not using it is important, right? What the pain point of using it, the payoff of not using it, right? And so I already have that all kind of jotted down internally. So it's not like I have to go through this big process in the moment. But that might be the case for some people, right? Where you do kind of have to have all these things in place a little bit. And that's not to overwhelm you. That's just to almost like, setting ourselves up for success, such that when the cravings come, we are in a position to handle them effectively and efficiently. All right. So just as a quick summary for you, right? So in your case, let's say let's say your classic craving is when you're at work, right? And it's halfway through the day, and it's been kind of whatever. Maybe it's been a good day, maybe it's been a bad day, or a neutral day at work. But this thought bubble comes in your head of like, oh my God, I can't wait to go home and just smoke my face off. Or maybe it's not even that crackheady, right? Maybe it's like, oh my God, I want to smoke a bowl so bad when I get home. It's gonna feel so good. It's good. And then, okay, and this is where the game can get a little finicky, right? It can get a little dangerous. It's like you begin to romanticize, you begin to fantasize, you begin to basically just play this movie in your head of how good it's going to be, right? So you're at work and maybe it's boring right now, nothing's really happening, and it's like, oh God. And let's take a quick side note, right? The thing to note in general is, when are the times I get these cravings, and what are the emotions that I'm dealing with when I get these cravings? And then what are the solutions that I'm creating to solve these? Okay, let me explain. So in this case, in this example, of the work example, right? It's the middle of the day. That's the time of the day, and you're bored. Boredom. Specifically when you're bored at work, but in general, just being bored. Okay, that's the emotion, and the craving is probably to have fun, to relax, to get lost in something cool, to be stimulated, to be entertained, maybe to connect and laugh, right? That's the desire. So the feeling is being bored. The desire is essentially an emotional and mental state change of excitement and fun and intrigue and interest. Okay, so that's really the issue. The issue is that you're bored. The solution is you want to do something fun. And the reality is that for stoners, right, or just in general, if this is just your habit is to go to weed for that, right? Weed and music, weed and weed, whatever. But the point is, it's marijuana and something. Okay, so that's the beginning of seeing what's called a habit loop. If you guys have ever done some studying or self-study on habits, right? That's a habit loop, okay? And so back to the story, back to the scenario. So you're bored at work and it's like, oh my God. And here, let's get real, right? Man, like if you're, in the trenches of this journey, when cravings hit, they fucking hit, right? And what I mean is they grab a hold of you like it's crack. And I'm not trying to compare weed to crack. I'm just highlighting how powerful and overwhelmingly powerful these cravings can be. They overtake your nervous system like fucking hypnosis, right? And it's like, oh my God, I'm so bored. Oh my God, weed sounds so good. Oh my, and then without even you trying, your brain is all of a sudden imagining the drive home, and already your nervous system is getting excited just thinking about this. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna drive home. And that's already kind of the beginning of like the ritual of like getting there. It's like, okay, and then I'm gonna get home and pack the bowl. Oh my God, that first hit the bonk. And then it's just that whole experience of like being stressed out or bored or just like kind of bleh, and then that first hit, and then it's like relax, and now I'm chilling, and now everything's funny and music and video games and whatever, watch National Geographic, right? And so it's like, yeah. Like if we let that movie play, if we let the fantasies play, if we let the romanticizing play, it's, yeah, and then it's going to be hard to stop when it gets to a certain point. Right? That's why the skill to develop is being in front of the cravings instead of allowing them to take over. Right? So what that might look like for people is, and it might sound tedious, but it's no different than if you're on a workout journey and your muscle of discipline with working out isn't there yet, right? So what do you have to do? You quite literally have to put workout at 8 a.m. like at the forefront of your brain, because it's not an automatic behavior yet, it's not an automatic habit yet. And so you quite literally have to like deal with yourself, like, oh, am I gonna go, am I not gonna go? And eventually you get there, right? But it takes a lot of effort, right? In that scenario with the gym, right? If you're on a workout journey, you have to like get yourself there consciously. It's not like you're gonna get there without trying, right? And so in a similar way with weed cravings, if you're someone who wants to take a break, or you want to quit, or you're trying to change the habit, similar with working out and nutrition, you got to be in front of the craving, and you have to be committed to the action or the non-action, whatever that is. Now let me see how much time I have left. Okay. Okay, let's now transition to more so on the okay, like how can we make cravings, okay, let me pause here. So that's just the kind of X's and O's of how you can deal with the craving in the moment and stay disciplined, so to speak, right? Now let's talk about what to do next, right? Because it's not just about the discipline of the cravings, right? And having discipline and not smoking the weed when the cravings hit. It's also about satisfying not the craving for weed, but the craving for fun in this case, right? How to solve alternative options to solve boredom, alternative options to solve stress, anxiety, shame, guilt, sadness, alternative strategies to celebrate, relax, have fun, connect, laugh. And that's one of the like sad things about losing oneself to marijuana dependency, is you quite literally become dependent on the substance to meet all of these needs, these emotional needs, these basic human needs like connection. And that's essentially when we ditch all these other options that we probably had in favor of just running to marijuana because it's so easy and so convenient and it's risk free, so to speak. Like, okay, well, why would I want to go through the bother? Let's say I have this craving to connect, but why would I go through the whole process of bothering to call someone and make some plans because I already have social anxiety? And by the way, I have a tough time opening up to people. And so why bother do any of that when I can just go home, smoke a bowl, watch YouTube and like get a fake sense of socializing? And I don't say that in judgment. That is what I did, right? Like it was crazy, guys, to like I would recognize like, oh, I'm like depressed and need like real socializing, but instead of and that might sound sad, right? It is sad. It is sad. Not in like a pathetic way, like kind of in a pathetic way, but like essentially it's like, man, like we have these real needs to connect or to socialize or to like we're depressed and we need support or we're sad and we need a hug or we're ashamed and we need therapy. Like we need real solutions to these real serious mental health issues, or just difficult things in life. But instead of getting real solutions, we are just pounding ourselves over and over with just like marijuana, like stuffing things down. And fair enough, right? Like life's hard. What's the we all need to find ways to deal with life and cope and get space and distraction. I am not demonizing needing distractions by any means, right? This is not about what this is about is when the marijuana takes over because we let it, and essentially we've lost a healthy way of just dealing with life and its challenges, as well as dealing with life and just basic human needs, right? Okay, so with that said, right, what this process is really about, if you're someone who is quitting or you're taking a break for an extended period of time, the reason why cravings continue to hit so hard when they do come is because you don't have another option to actually give you what you're looking for. Okay, so if let's say you're someone who is used to leaning on marijuana to deal with anxiety or just like boredom, even if you're someone who constantly is just running towards marijuana to help remedy that, then yeah, when you feel anxious, even a millimeter of anxious, and I'm speaking from my own experience, your body and brain is going to shout at you to go fucking get marijuana, because who wants to feel anxious? Nobody, right? No one wants to feel that. And so yeah, if you've trained yourself every single time you feel an ounce of anxiousness, or even you're just anticipating anxiousness in the day, and you've smoked every day, years and years and years and years, yeah, your body's gonna be like, bro, where the fuck is the weed? We fucking need it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And so, um, that's what we're up against. We're up against our trained nervous system that unfortunately we're the ones that trained it, right? Not on purpose, but that's just the deal. And so it is in your best interest. In fact, it is an absolute must that in this process, it's not just about learning how to master dealing with cravings so that you don't continue turning to marijuana for your needs. It's also rebuilding a toolkit of ways to deal with your needs, other ways to deal with stress, other ways to get fun, other ways to decompress, other ways. And you know what? This might sound daunting. It kind of is, but really it's the beginning of having your life back, right? If you're someone who is so sick and tired of having cravings run your life, um, what you're really asking, if you know it or not, is to find other ways to deal with your needs. And you know what? It's tricky. Right? And I don't mean to scare you. What I mean is, by tricky, I mean the cravings come across in our nervous system as weed, but it's really these cravings for other things, and it takes some effort to distinguish that. Okay, so what would that look like? All right. Let's say you're someone, you really haven't done this type of work before. You're at the front end of this, or maybe you're in the middle of this, but you still don't really know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, here, let me tell you. So, um, again, going back to that example, let's do a different example. Okay, let's say, you know, okay, let's go with the classic one, right? A lot of people have done something like go a month off, and then at some point your brain is like, we can hold on, scratch that. Different example. I'm trying to think of a very, very classic one. Let's go with wake and bake, right? Wake and bake. So let's say you're someone who, you're used to just like taking a toke or two in the beginning of the day, right? Like literally within 20 minutes, you're get taking a toke, right? And it's not even this like wake and bake session. Oh, I'm gonna check the time real quick. It's all right. Let's go. Let's do this in 4 minutes or less. So it's not even about, it's just that's just like how you start your day. Like some people start their day with a cup of coffee, some people start their day with exercise, and some people start their day with a cigarette, some people start their day with meditation, some people start their day with smoking marijuana, right? And I am almost positive if you're watching this, that's probably you to some degree, okay? So, all right. What is the real craving in that case, right? It could be a lot of things, and in general you'll have to be the one to do the work in these different moments, right? But for me, what it was like, okay, so I'm waking up and I have this craving for marijuana, right? I can feel it. It's like, oh my god, let's just go smoke it, dude. Like, fuck it. It's a couple things. um One, it's just this desire for excitement. It's this craving for like randomness, but in a good way, right? It's like, okay, I'm gonna let's smoke and let's see, right? That's the big draw of marijuana. It's unpredictable fun. It's like, okay, who knows what we're gonna get into today, right? But it's also very predictable in terms of we know that it's going to be something good at the very least. Like I'll just chill out and just like be stoned and like be chilling, right? At the very least. So at the very least, it's chill, but it's also this, this possibility of like a lot of fun, like massive payoff. Okay, there's that piece. There's also just like I just don't want to feel shitty. Like I just want a basic state change, right? That's another craving that I'll have in the morning. Um, Another one is like, it'll help me have a better, easier day, right? So basically, right, when I do it in the morning, it's this craving to have less stress in the day. It's a craving to have fun right off the bat. It's a craving to just like rev my engines and like have fun as fuck first thing in the day, right? Because if the choice is between just like having like a blend morning and like feeling kind of like a shell of myself and just kind of like I'm little, that angst, that subtle angstiness that kind of we all got, not to mention like my life isn't how I want it to be, and oh god, right? Instead of all that, I'm just gonna smoke the weed, right? Or I'm just gonna take the edible and just like blah blah blah. And so, so in that case, right, the cravings again where I wanna go from scared and nervous and blah to chillin' and fun. So it's a craving for fun and chillness, right? And I'm remedying stress and anxiety. I have this craving to solve, whatever else, right? And so I know that was kind of great, Gabe, whatever else, but you get the point. You get the point. And so, um, the the overall cravings should decrease and the strength of the cravings should decrease the more and more you're able to reliably satisfy these cravings in other ways. Okay, so what would that look like for me, right? um uh uh for example, last night, right, when I was with my family hanging out and I had that craving, like, oh, when we go home, yeah, let's smoke, right? So first of all, I got in front of that craving, right? I was present to the pain points of why that's not a great idea. I was present to the payoffs of why it was a good idea to have discipline. And then I was able to kind of shake it off in that moment anyways, right? Like I didn't need that. Um and so okay, what was my craving? What was really my craving there? It's like to have like more fun at the end of the night, or to like what really kind of got me out of that one was like that wouldn't be fun. Like no, that wouldn't be fun. Like um uh and so I mean, you know what's funny? What ended up happening is shortly after that craving, shortly after I dealt with that craving, I ended up playing with my sister's dog for like 30 minutes, and I continued having fun with them. And so I was already continuing to have my fun. And if anything, and this is what I've discovered in general, is this desire for like a lot of that is also a desire for decompression, right? Like not just like, oh, I want to have more fun and be stoned. It's like no, I kind of want to just like get stoned and actually like chill out hard and rest hard and just like, but also have a good time, like just get that almost like zen decompression of like, oh my god, I'm chill, I feel so good, I'm so relaxed, like I'm so grateful. That was kind of the space that I was looking for in that moment. And um I didn't really have a moment of like being so grateful, but what I ended up doing is when I got home, like instead of like dicking around and like staying up on like playing video games for another 2 hours, I just like went to sleep, right? Because I realized that what my body was really craving was like decompression and rest. Um, because I want to be ready to go for the next day, because I love being awake and I love, doing a bunch of shit in the day. So, anyways, I don't know if that was helpful. Hopefully, it was that last piece. But, to wrap this all up, if you made it this far, cravings can be hard for sure. It's basically on us to develop this sense of being able to observe our thoughts. Like if you've done meditation work, you're observing the thoughts, which is essentially us having space between ourself and the craving, so that the craving isn't the thing dictating your decisions. Okay, that's the one piece. And then the second piece is to take note of what you're really wanting, right? What is the marijuana solving? What is the marijuana bringing to the table? Whether it's boredom to fun, or stress to relief, or pent upness to decompression. Whatever the marijuana is solving, we need to take note of